Final Fantasy VII was a cornerstone of gaming in my childhood to the point that I wore the disc out. So when I finally played the much anticipated Final Fantasy VII Remake, I anticipated eye-catching flashy visuals bringing the much beloved characters to all new life, a modernization of dated gameplay, and some peripheral fleshing out of the game world and the characters within it. All of that is certainly true, but none of it is what stuck with me about the touted remake of arguably Square Enix's most beloved game. Instead, what caught and held my attention was something entirely different and unexpected. One simple, overarching fact that once I understood, I couldn't set aside. Final Fantasy VII Remake is crazy. Spoiler warning, nerds, I'm going to be going over all sorts of details from Final Fantasy VII Remake. You should play FF7 Remake before you watch this video because, yeah, all kinds of weird, crazy shit happens in it, and even though this is an enjoyable presentation of it, you're going to enjoy it the most if you play it directly. It also bears warning that even if you've played the original Final Fantasy VII, these spoiler warnings should still be considered in effect. Because if you haven't already heard, yeah, there's a lot of content in Final Fantasy VII Remake that is either added additional stuff or an outright divergence from the central plot in the original Final Fantasy VII. So you really need to give this game a playthrough of your own before diving into the crazy trip we're about to take. The more I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, the more I understood it's crazy. There's so many details, side activities, encounters, and just weird stuff that happens in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was honestly caught off guard by how unhinged and off the wall the game was. And the more of these bizarre moments that I experienced, the more I loved them and wanted more, and Final Fantasy VII Remake did not disappoint. There are so many elements of FF7 Remake that are worth talking about. A breadth of expansion and deepening of lore and character arcs and fleshing out of familiar faces and places and people in the world in a way that makes the world even more complete. And yes, there are a lot of flaws too. There's tons of upgrades to gameplay. Some of it's great, some of it's meh. And there's story beats and twists that point the game in a whole new direction that I don't know if I like or dislike yet because I don't know where any of this is going and I'm not going to find out for at least one more game. And there's equal potential for this to be a slam dunk or a total flop. But if I'm being honest, at the end of the day, when the credits roll on this grand reimagining of one of the most beloved franchises of my childhood, I don't give a shit about any of that. How could I when Final Fantasy VII Remake has the nerve, the chutzpah, the big brass balls to do the dumbest, weirdest, most unnecessary shit, like showing us Sephiroth at damn near the very beginning of the game and immediately breaking canon from the original, which tells us right off the rip that Square Enix are gonna do whatever they want. They don't give a fuck. Our Mako-infused super soldier killing machine turned mercenary spends an afternoon herding cats. Cloud's a master of darts. Realistic door physics. Or is it realistic sword physics? Realistic indoor sword physics. Granny Marl seems to be the only person who sees that Cloud and Tifa are hot for each other and should totally bang. Tifa mixes some of the most detailed and intricate drinks in any video game ever, and it's pretty clear that someone at Square Enix is an alcoholic. Cloud drives a motorcycle while dragging a sword that it probably weighs almost as much as the bike itself, because if Guts could ride a horse while swinging a giant-ass sword in Berserk, then damn it, Cloud can manage on this bike. Roche is the anime version of a Harley Davidson fetishist, and you get to duel with him while on bike. Awesome. Cloud sneaks into Jesse's house to steal from Jesse's comatose father at Jesse's request, and this moment is never mentioned again because I guess it's fine to steal from vegetables. We fight Roche on foot, and I want to say something slick and petty about why isn't he just wielding his bike as a weapon. Yes, I've been playing Yakuza. No, I don't have a problem. I can stop when I want. But the son of a bitch heals Cloud before dueling him because he doesn't want an unfair fight, and that's Chad shit right there. This tandem parachute happens. Wedge likes cats. Like, really likes cats.
Okay.
The man owns a full auto shotgun for fuck's sake. But I guess when you have a full auto shotgun, you can have as many cats as you want. Cloud was clearly not prepared for this many cats. The gang fights an army of ghosts or whatever these things are and then carries on with their day like nothing happened. Final Fantasy VII Remake makes a whole ass minigame out of flipping these levers and I managed to fail it at least once, I shit you not. Cloud follows a solid 20 plus stories and then meets anime Jesus. Or something, I guess. Our early adventures finding cats was just training for the real meta end game for Final Fantasy VII Remake, finding lost children. I swear to God, Square Enix, if we have to find missing adults next, I will fuck. Cloud has a secret vendetta against boxes and goes on a genocidal box-slaying rampage. This reporter wants to track down a famous Robin Hood wannabe thief who totally isn't this old woman who shows up to aggressively defend the thief anytime anyone in a 5-mile radius mentions them. Also, this reporter is a crony and a douchebag, and I want to knock their stupid hat off their head and step on it whenever I see them. I can think of at least 27 better ways to get around these obstacles than using a giant robot arm, but there's a giant robot arm, so we're gonna roll with this. I just can't believe Aerith actually let this grown man play what amounts to a modified crane game using her as the prize. This analogy works in my head, so I'm rolling with it, don't at me.
I'd say we're owed compensatory damages. Composite, I don't get it.
These idiots. Tifa's dresses exist. Square Enix clearly understands the influence that Tifa had on Rule 34 back in the 90s, and I salute them for embracing the culture.
She's in great shape.
Is that really important?
Wait a minute, you talking about Tifa?
Cloud said this, and Sam immediately knew who we were talking about. Wall Market is exactly what Wall Market needed to be, and it's great.
So that's the way it is. Tifa's been invited into the Don's estate.
Huh?
But to earn such a privilege, you must first win the approval of one of the trio. Right? Meaning, I now know what I must do to save her. Stay strong, Tifa! Help is on the way! Johnny's coming, baby!
Johnny is the biggest moron in the game, and a simp, and a ginger. As a ginger, I can say that. But somehow he's still lovable, even though I'd never let him near tools or machinery. Cloud gets a hand massage.
That's it. Relax. I'm only here to help. Oh, did that hurt?
No.
Just like this. Oh, what was that? A cry of pleasure?
No, really. This is just a hand massage. He still makes this face and then stumbles around like he's just seen Jesus. Again. My man is way, way too tense.
The city that never sleeps, in the paradise of debauchery and sin, the pain and pleasure, where your every desire can be indulged for the right price. Wall Market! For you esteemed connoisseurs of chaos and bloodshed, we bid you the warmest of welcomes. Are you sitting comfortably? For tonight, the most gruesome spectacle anywhere in Wall Market or beyond shall be yours to witness.
Cloud and Aerith compete in an underground fighting arena set up like a Roman gladiator fight to the death with WWE-style announcers to secure the prize money needed to buy Aerith a dress so she can seduce a pimp. And I'm pretty sure that saying that sentence out loud just gave me a brain aneurysm. During their arena run, Cloud and Aerith fight a house. Like a demonic robotic house, but nevertheless a literal house. I haven't done enough drugs to make this up.
That's how it's done.
Cloud participates in a squat competition. A squat off, if you will. In rapid succession, Cloud and Aerith visit a brothel. Cloud has to dance in front of several scantily clad women in bee costumes, which is basically just him waving his sword around, because apparently dancing means sword practice if you're a dumb blonde idiot like Cloud. A burlesque dance number breaks out and things get weird. Things get uncomfortable, and Cloud ends up in the most paper-thin and unnecessary disguise in the history of video games. We've been in Wall Street for one night. Wall Street is wild, yo. Don Corneo is an actual character in an actual video game.
Enjoy the sights and smells!
Tifa and Aerith do a water pump minigame because Cloud decided those heifers could go make themselves useful while he had himself a little rest. Shinra drops the Sector 7 plate and it's a massive spectacle of carnage and destruction. It's horrifying and kind of satisfying, and it's totally wild to see Cloud and the homies escape by using a fucking zipline of all things. So don't let anyone tell you those zipline adventure parks are lame. One day a zipline might save your life. Fat Chocobo is an ability that summons a fat-ass chicken to sit on your enemies to death. Obese chicken best summon. There's a whole ass underground facility under the slums that is definitely not in the original game, and it's filled with mutant assholes, and it was a totally unnecessary part of the game. But it gives Tifa and Barrett some much needed screen time, and they do a Wolverine and Colossus style fastball special, and Tifa does this flip, so 10 out of 10.
That's how it's done.
Tifa does a pull-up competition, and it's literally the hardest thing in the game. Best old man dance, 10 out of 10. Tifa does parkour. Kind of, not really. Like, I really like that they included this modified movement system in the game, even if it's just for this short little section. It makes me wish that they had this kind of thing spread throughout more of the game, except that it's really roughly executed here, so I can understand why it didn't make the cut. Fix it, Squeenix. The stairs. Those mad bastards at Square Enix actually kept the stairs, and they are as horrible and glorious as they were in the original game. The gang fights Jenova in President Shinra's office, just in case you didn't get the memo that the game is going completely off script. This bike trick happens, and it's so fucking stupid, and it's absolutely amazing and ridiculous. And I hate how cheesy this is so much that I love it again. Cloud makes this guard shit his pants. You escape from Midgar, and the fight with the highway mecha tank thing is epic and crazy in all the right ways. Shit gets real weird as Cloud and the gang fight and kill Fate itself and all the phantom assholes that have been bothering them for the whole game. Then they fight Sephiroth, and then they fight Sephiroth some more, and then they fight Sephiroth some more, and then the game closes with the promise of a sequel. And guys, I'm gonna be honest here, I don't know if I love or hate the new direction that Final Fantasy VII Remake is obviously going, but I'm willing to find out. Final Fantasy VII Remake is crazy. I went into Final Fantasy VII Remake expecting a fairly serious, somber experience. What I got instead was a quite frankly batshit insane game disguising itself as a serious game and somehow pulling off both. And now that the next chapter in Final Fantasy VII Remake has been announced, all I can say is it better bring the same why is this even happening energy of this first game, or I will have lost all respect for a remake that had the raw, unmitigated nerve to take a beloved classic, treat it with all the respect, care, and love it so rightfully deserved, all the while looking us all point blank in the eyes while it boldly and unashamedly strapped on some clown shoes. I did not expect Final Fantasy VII Remake to be such a crazy, weird, dysfunctional, wild game, but looking forward to the next installment, I do now. So don't pussy out on me now, Squeenix. Before we go, I have zero doubt that I missed some pretty significant wow that was crazy moments from the game, but I made this video going off of memory and what footage I had captured, so here we go. If there were any prominent crazy what's going on moments that didn't make this list, make sure you mention them in the comments below. And yes, there will be a Final Fantasy VII Intergrade is Crazy video. Thank you to my Patreons and YouTube members for supporting my content. Link to my Patreon and how to become a YouTube member in the description below. Until next time, remember, Tifa's a nuke and the best member of your party. She's built like she could mother at least 12 children no problem. And she has impeccable taste in clothing. And Aerith has... what exactly? That's right. I said it. Stay salty, nerds.